Yes, hello again, all my internet friends, and welcome to another episode of the Listen to Your Parents podcast. This is the podcast where people like you and me, parents, we come together, we talk, we drink, we vent, we let off some steam. We try to wrap our heads about how we're gonna get through this crazy thing, this crazy lockdown, this crazy COVID-19 coronavirus, this crazy homeschooling. But you know what? This podcast is taking a turn because we've I don't know if we've reached the end of the tunnel, but we've definitely reached there's a light here in this tunnel right now shining down on us, and it's called the end of the school year. And it's an interesting little milepost, so we're going to talk about that tonight and other things. And let's see who's here with us. Very good friends. First of all, let's say hello once again. Adam is back with us, and how are you doing, buddy?
Hanging in, Maddie. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. And Davey is somewhere. Tina is definitely there.
I see Tina.
Hello, Tina.
Hello.
Hello, Davey.
Hello. How is everybody?
Hello. Yeah. So, I guess I was being a little tongue in cheek here for a minute. The end of the homeschooling. I would assume that everyone else here has kind of reached the end of their school years as well, and most of the people listening now, their kids are out of school. Are all the kids out of school now? At least the people here in this group right now.
Yes. Yeah, ours are done. They were done on the 29th, and we already went to the school to pick up their stuff and drop stuff off on June 2nd. So we're all done. So yeah, so we're into the second week of summer vacation, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah,
and I kind of miss the structure of the school day, to be honest. But there was a routine to that I'm kind of missing a little bit right now. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's definitely been there's been a tangible shift in kind of like the routine around the house, to the point where like we've gone from, it feels like in my house at least, we've gone from we've got to get everything done and we've got to do all this stuff to the past week where we've just been wasting away now, and like all this motivation and drive has just kind of gone away, and maybe that's just kind of like the exhale from the school year being over. But well, let's ask Dave and Tina how they're doing now that I believe their children are done with their schooling for the year too. Are they?
We are done. Yeah, we've been done for over a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going on 2 weeks now. It was same time as Adam. His kids are done the 29th, and Jason's done the 29th, and now it's go hang out with your friends and stop playing video games and go outside.
Yeah.
Chase birds.
Yeah. The constant struggle.
Yeah, it's I had a small success this evening. We took my youngest, my 10-year-old, to the driving range with my grandfather, and that was interesting because he had never. I don't really think he's ever really attempted to swing a real golf club in his life. So he went out there and just kind of took some hacks. But the driving range is kind of this perfect, social distancing activity because you get your bucket of balls and you get in your little, your little pod, and it's perfect. Everyone's exactly 6 feet apart. It's just it's been built that way this entire time, and I just got to hang out and take some hacks. I am still terrible, in case anyone is wondering out there. I think both of you have had to witness my golf game in person. It's not pretty, and it hasn't gotten really any better.
That's pretty easy. You step up for me, Maddie. It's okay.
It's been a long time since I played golf with either of you guys, and it would be nice if you'd come down and visit me at Butler's.
All right, point taken. I was out that way. I was at where we're going to really hyper localize this podcast here right now. I was down at Bill's Golf Land.
Oh yeah,
taking my hacks tonight. So yeah, I was definitely down in Davey and Tina country. So yeah, it's nice down there. And also very interesting is it's Bill's has an ice cream shop, and it's one of those situations where, like, anytime even like the suggestion of let's go inside of a place and sit down is brought up around the house, I'm like, absolutely not. Like, we'll do takeout, but I'm not going inside a restaurant and sitting down. But damn it all, Bill's has an ice cream shop, and I just hit about a bucket of balls, and I went in there and I sat down, and I sat down at the table and I had my sundae, and I mean, I'm still here, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
2 weeks, and then we'll talk.
I know.
You'll be fine in 2 weeks. Just keep drinking the alcohol; it'll burn it off.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Right.
In addition to the Miller Lite I'm enjoying, I got to work my way through this case. As the restaurants have started to open, I'm sure this is happening in other parts of the country too. They now have this great innovation, the to-go cocktail.
They've had that though, haven't they?
No, not open drinks and stuff.
I mean,
you can't get them to go.
I thought
you couldn't get them to go.
Get a 6-pack to go. That's about it.
Yeah, they couldn't be opened and mixed. And
the bar down the street's been doing take-home mixed drinks since this started.
Yeah, that's since this. He's talking like, why haven't they been doing it
since?
Like, why is it just now coming to light?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some were, maybe some weren't, but the point is now everybody knows that they're doing it. And, we went down to the restaurant down the street. The wife wanted some takeout, and I was like looking at the takeout menu. I wasn't particularly hungry, but I'm like, oh, what is this? A takeout drink menu? Let me look at this. And like, they gave me this Jim Beam and ginger ale in this tiny convenient bottle. Okay.
With a cap.
With a cap on it.
That's
all right.
awesome.
And then I'm like, since I didn't get anything to eat, I just went wild. And so I got my Jim Beam and ginger ale still capped. The pineapple mojito is right here in this bottle. And for those watching us on video live tonight, you'll appreciate the fact that I have a very appropriate cup for this drink. It's a damn pineapple. So
that's fantastic.
I mean, our man on the ones and twos, Mike Sorgatron Media, Sidekick Media Services. He's always told me, Matt, the great thing about visual gags on a podcast is that no one is watching the podcast; they're listening to the podcast. So it's like a special kind of torture. So for all you folks who are only listening right now, I am now pouring my pineapple mojito out of this tiny little bottle that was capped and delivered to me from this restaurant into this cartoonishly pineapple-y cup, and I'm going to stir the top on. And we've drank a lot of drinks on this podcast. Many cans and bottles have been served. Some glasses have been used, but this is a first on this podcast. And to those who are only listening and are not getting the joy of watching, I will now step out of this cartoonish
and your kids are going to fight over that cup when you're done with it.
Hopefully not until I'm done with it. That's good. Okay. So I guess I'll open the floor. Like any good stories, because we've gone to another, since the last time we were all together 2 weeks ago, we've gone through yellow phase. Now we're into green phase in most of Pennsylvania. More things are open. More places are doing business. So have you guys been kind of pushing out the envelope a little bit more, or have you been still playing this let's wait and see game? Because for the most part, that's kind of been the game plan for most people when we've talked to them here.
I mean, we're still being kind of cautious. I think we took the kids to Target last weekend. That was our first big family. We're going somewhere outing for a while. It was all right. The boys just had their birthdays. They had some money to spend. So we let they'll pick the toy out and, their normal Target shopping. So, they handled the masks okay. They handled it fine. We're hoping to do the zoo this weekend, so that'll be a little more of a adventure. So we'll see if that comes together. But yeah, I mean, it's, the first week after school was basically just them playing video games for most of the time.
Right.
And then the first week coming, okay, like you look at the wife and go, well, we can't let this week be every week, so we got to break it up a little bit next week. So we're trying to do that here and get them outside a little more. And we got a new sprinkler, so they've been playing in that, and, water balloons, all that kind of whatever to get them outside. We just got a new basketball hoop. And our drive was a bit of a hill, but since Millie's been playing since the spring, we thought, well, let's get a hoop, just something we can shoot on. And that's been a good way to get them outside a little bit too. So, just little bits here and there.
Yeah, the yard toy business has been strong, especially around these parts too. David, Tina, how have you guys been doing as far as maybe getting a little bit more out there, if at all?
Well, speaking of the yard toys, we tried to get one of those Connect 4 sets from those giant Connect 4 sets from Aldi. But like every Aldi we go to, and we have been to several Aldis since this whole thing started, because they have the Isle of Shame, and you just have all these awesome things. And it's like, I should have bought stock in Aldi before this whole thing started. I mean, they're giving you quarters now. they're putting their cards. But yeah, we looked for those. We couldn't find them. But trying to, get Chase outside as much as possible. Tina's got Taylor out as much as possible. As long as her tiny 18-month-old body can withstand this crazy heat. I know she can withstand more than I can.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, not really. I mean, we went up to Edinburgh, into the yellow zone.
Yeah,
those heathens.
Erie County,
right.
Erie County and Beaver County, the two last outposts for yellow zone in western Pennsylvania. And we've been up to Erie lately too, because my wife's parents are up there, so we have a good reason to head up there. We did travel up there and do a 2-day 1 night up there just to say hey.
Yeah,
and it was okay.
Grandparents are starving to see their kids. I mean, my mom is actually going to step foot out of the Yankovic household in Edinburgh and come down here tomorrow, we think.
Wow.
Nice.
We're not sure.
Nice.
She's coming out of her cave.
Nice.
And she's going to come down here because I keep sending her pictures of her granddaughter. And she's like, she's getting so much bigger. I go, she's going to be in college before you come down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a couple dinners with the parents. It was a big first activity once we kind of went to, the more relaxed phases here. They came here, we went there. My wife's parents haven't been down here since we hadn't seen them since February, and they were just down for the boy's birthday finally. So that was nice to get them down here. And they both have, they both have kind of respiratory things, so they have to be careful with that stuff. So, so they definitely played it cautious through the whole thing. But once we finally went to the green phase, we finally got them to come down for the birthday. So that was nice.
There's so much urgency to see, especially when parents our age with kids of their ages and grandparents who are desperate to see their grandkids. there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of like there's an urgency to kind of explore the new normal, and in air quotes. But there's also kind of like that concern of letting your guard down, because it's not, coronavirus is not gone by any stretch. There's reports, all sorts of crazy, stuff. Will there be a second wave? How long of a window do we have until that happens? So even though here in Pennsylvania, we seem to be doing okay, especially here in Western PA, that definitely is something that you kind of have in the back of your mind, even as you're out and, the traffic on the roads seems to be normal. And you get to a point where you're like, for the most part, this is not too different from everyday life now that the homeschooling thing is, in the past. Now you're just like, okay, this is summer vacation with the kids. And, the only real change is that you got to make sure you wear a mask if you go out to the store, and, don't make sure you abide by the one ways on the shopping aisles. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get scolded by someone.
It still freaks me out.
The one way. I'm not a fan. Giant Eagle. I feel like they held off for a while before putting the signs down. They finally did, and now it's like, okay, I'm in one aisle, and I got to get 2 aisles over for one thing. I go all the big loop-to-loop to come in the right way, and it's like, geez, I don't need the next aisle, but I have to go up it to go down the next one.
That's when I got yelled at. I'm like,
see, there you go.
I'm like, I just need to go in this aisle to the second freezer case and reach in and get like frozen waffles. And he's like, no, you can't. You got to go all the way around. I was like, oh boy. And this mask started, the N65 or 95 mask started to give me a migraine. At that point, I'm like, I can't possibly go around another aisle to come back in. I can't do this. But
so neither
stay
of you,
strong, baby. Stay strong.
None of you have tried the old, leave the cart for a split second, run up the aisle the wrong way, grab the box.
I've done that.
Pop-Tarts, and
I've done that.
And
that's a pro move.
It just happened that there was a guy that was really, beating his chest over this whole thing. Yeah. He just happened to be in the freezer aisle.
Well, in fact, I just did it this past week. I was there and I was trying to get a couple cases of soda because they were on sale. And there was just people were swarming those couple of aisles. I just left the cart at the end of the one aisle, walked over to the soda, grabbed it, and went back to the cart. I was like, I'm not playing this game. Well, I don't need 20 minutes to grab 2 cases of soda.
You can do that all you want, but there's still people that linger in the aisle that you're heading down. And it's like, I'm not going to wait for all these people to move. If I can sneak through and I don't have a cart, I'm not running them over with it. I'm just kind of sneaking in front of them. I just say, excuse me, and move through as quickly as possible. You're still within 6 feet of someone. I mean, I know what they're doing. I understand. I don't want to be bullish about the one-way aisles, but it's a little crazy and sometimes intimidating.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy like me that never does the grocery shopping, and I just want to try to help out the family somehow.
Right.
Like, excuse me, where are your milk products? Oh, sir, they're right behind you.
As you
have
enter
to
the
go the other way to get around the aisle to come to them.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So you don't get like concerns about like passing people in the one-way aisles too. That's always kind of a sketchy move. You're kind of like, you're coming up on someone. You're just like, this person's kind of stalled here. It's been staring at that box of Frosted Flakes for a long time. I really don't think they're gonna mind if I just kind of like, go.
Well, and that's the thing. You got to feel it out. Yeah, you got to read the room. You just got to do it because not exactly.
Only you zip past them, but then you do you look away from them, as you're zipping past, as if like the chances of infection are less. I would just avoid eye contact. I've got this mask, everything going on here. But if we don't breathe toward each other, we should be all right. That should be.
And you're wearing masks. I mean, they can't see my mouth to hear me, whisper, "I'm sorry." So I have to well up tears in my eyes to make it look like I'm really sad that I'm passing them.
This is a good. Here's a good thing to discuss here, is the casual, niceties that we share with strangers while we're out.
Yeah.
That are impossible to perform anymore because you have a mask on your face, and if you're like me, you're wearing a hat. 50 or 60% of the time these days. Hat, mask, like glasses. You can barely see my face. Like there's only like a couple glass, like a couple screens here. So there's no like smile, hey, what's up? It's nothing. There's no, you can't give them like, so if you've like done something where, or if like someone does something where perhaps they are concerned that they may have, stepped in front of you and you don't like that, you can't do like the smile and like, hey, it's cool, don't worry about it. All you can do is just kind of be like, it just kind of, or, I don't know,
You just say, you just
nonverbal communication. I'm really kind of having to adjust. It's been kind of tricky for me. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem right now, but.
I think you just say, excuse me. I've had a couple of cases where someone has kind of done that, oops, sorry, and you say, it's okay, just use your words. We tell our kids, use your words,
Right.
So listen to your parents, use your words. That's all, I think. You just say, excuse me when you pass somebody, and if they say sorry, you say, no, don't worry about it, because, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to shop safely or do whatever we're trying to do safely, so, yeah.
And being in the store longer, I feel like is more stressful when you have the mask on. I've noticed, because I've been wearing those construction N95s, and those things are beasts. You can't breathe as well in those as you can in a cloth mask. And so, but I've been, from the beginning, everybody's like, oh, N95. And I had some of those left over from like a insulation project that I was working on. And these were, new out of the pack when this all rolled around. But still, they give you a headache after a while.
How's the glasses fogging up going for you, Davey?
I made sure to pinch the nose piece over the top with the metal.
Ah, there you go.
If you pinch it close enough, the air doesn't get right into your glasses.
Right.
But yes,
I
had that happen.
Right. I had the my sister, my younger sister, the last of the millennials to own a real sewing machine, made like cloth masks for bunches of people. We had, my wife Jen, she had, extra fabric in her craft room buried with every other damn thing in her craft room. You know how that goes, ladies, right? Hey. So she made us cloth masks. So we did not have the benefit of the metal thing here. So a lot of shallow breathing on my part. But there's also a trick where if you wash your glasses with soap, warm water, and kind of let them air dry, allegedly this slows down the fogging. I tried it a couple times. It was moderately successful, but then I've gone out other times without doing anything and just have not had any problems. So I don't know if it's my own body breathing routine is getting used to it, and it's now, like I said, a lot of shallow breathing and just not like, I don't know. Like, the whole thing is so messed up. I'm at the breaking point, but I'm not right now. Because it feels good, to have gotten this far, but at the same time, you're just kind of like, damn it, this plexiglass is going to be up in this grocery store till the end of time. These one-way aisles, they are never taking out these one-way aisles. And you face you're wrapping your minds around the new normal and realizing that we're not talking months, we're probably like years of this, perhaps forever. And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, they say year and a half to maybe 2 years to know if any vaccine is going to be truly effective. So that's the window you're talking about. And we can get back to normal life, hopefully to a certain extent between now and then. But until that vaccine is out there, it's going to be masks and plexiglass and one-way aisles and all that stuff. And I don't want. I'm not going to make this a political thing. I just want to see. You worry. Is there going to be a wave 2? You mentioned that earlier. I look at it this way. I think about this quote often in my life, and especially now. I think of Men in Black, and Tommy Lee Jones tells Will Smith, "A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. And it's true. And it's the people getting back out there that scares the crap out of me, because, all it takes is that group that doesn't think this is a problem, or doesn't think masks are important just to be safe. And that's what I think can cause that resurgence, if in fact a resurgence does happen. So I think that's getting back out there needs to happen, and we're excited about it. But it's also the thing that makes you wonder, are we going to be back quarantined in September? So it's a catch-22, if you will.
It's also, it is. It's human nature.
Yeah.
So, I probably shared this story months ago when the whole mask thing was just starting, and I had the temerity to go to the grocery store without wearing a mask before it was required. And I was, I went in there and like 3/4 of the folks in the grocery store had their masks on. I was like, damn, I better find a mask real quick before I come back here. And now my thinking is that we're going to flip the other way, where people are going to stop wearing their masks and people aren't going to check them on it. And it's going to be this kind of slow slide back down the other way, where people are just going to be like, you know what? He's not wearing a mask. We're okay. And that, and maybe we will be okay.
And maybe we will.
We will be, but what? I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. Bringing up the riots, and all the people that have been getting together and peaceful protesting, and then getting pulled into these battles. A lot of them aren't wearing face guards, and some of them are, some of them aren't. Mm-hmm. But I guess, it'll be like almost 2 weeks, right? We're coming up on that.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I guess we'll find out, if there's a spike, because there were, a lot of people
in close quarters
protesting in close quarters. So it has been a hell of a 2020.
Yeah, that's for sure. Not just the riots too, Davey, but like think of all the folks who were out on Memorial Day weekend too. A lot of people were pushing the envelope, and that's about 2 weeks too. So yeah, there has been a spike, but in a lot of different states, there's been a spike. And we've been fortunate here in Pennsylvania; we haven't seen that. We've been going in the right direction, at least last time I checked.
Somebody put on Twitter today, I think it was a politician or something, but it was a funny tweet. He goes, "I saw a giant eagle was trending, and I had to look it up to make sure that it didn't mean that it meant the grocery store, and not that giant eagles were swooping down to scoop people up and carry them off into the mountains, because the way 2020 is gone, I had to check."
Giant Eagle is one of those things. Giant Eagle's the local grocery store chain. They found themselves right in the middle of a really nice drop.
Oh yeah.
And you'll love to see it. Anyway, this is a good opportunity here to have the two of you on this show, because not always do we have like true like diehard knowledgeable sports fans here, and we've kind of touched on this a time or two, the whole lack of sports ball going on in our lives right now.
Yes.
And Jen and my wife and I have talked about this a time or two, where I've just been like, I have to admit this. Most of the time, I have not missed it. I have not missed sports. I mean, maybe like once or twice a week, I'll be sitting around kind of looking for something to watch on TV and be like, if there was a ball game on, my search would be over right now. Instead, I'm flipping through like channel 500 on my cable box, trying to find something, to help me pass the time. So I'm curious, since you guys are kind of similarly tuned into the sports life like me, Adam, how are you feeling about the whole thing right now with the sports ball?
I think I kind of agree with you in the sense of I haven't missed it as much as you might think. At the same time, since I had kids, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, you have less time to sit down and catch the nightly game, because you're putting kids to bed, you're doing the dishes, you're getting the house ready for the next morning. So often a Penguins game will be on. Now, if I catch the third period, I'm a happy man. I'm not in that stage of life. Haven't been for a while now, where I can't sit down and watch every game I want to sit down and watch. So from that perspective, it's almost like not a lot really changed. It's one that I have to quote worry about at night. Well, I got to make sure I want to make sure I catch some of the game, But I mean, we all know that sports will mark a return to normalcy. in a lot of ways. And I think we're all glad the NHL at least has a plan. There's talks of the other sports trying, every sport's at different stages in terms of whether they think they're going to do a season or not. But, look, I'm glad there's been some actual hockey to talk about this week, players on the ice and actual start dates for training camp, which is cool to see. But am I
in
like
the middle of the Cup Finals right now? We should be in the Cup Finals right now.
Actually, we should be just about done with the Cup Finals right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. My sister's birthday is a bit of a milepost. The Penguins had this annoying habit of they kept winning the Stanley Cup on her birthday. But that's another story. So yeah, it's that time of year. But yeah, Davey, how are you feeling about that? I know you're a little bit less. I know you're not a baseball guy.
Well, if it was the fall and this was going on, I'd have jumped off the top of my house by now.
It's true.
Football is like,
not to put too fine a point on it, but he would have jumped off the top of his house by now.
Right. For the Bills, it's been, it's 16 games. And since we've had kids, it's 16 games that I watch all year, unless there's a really awesome one on Sunday night, and I may turn it on for like half of the first quarter.
Okay.
But like baseball, this is my off season. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that, like maybe not Pirate fans, miss baseball.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Davey, but
I mean, with the Nuttings out there wrecking everything and not really trying to be competitive, that sucks. I pulled for the Pirates and I want them to do well, but if they're not going to try, that's kind of annoying. And when they go back to this I don't want to turn this, all into breakdown of the Nuttings and the Pirates, but
let's go for it.
No, I mean, hey, you know what? Like,
I don't know enough about it.
We have spent like 5 seconds talking about sports over the lifetime of this podcast, and now the conditions are perfect for us to get into it. So, I mean, let's talk. Say your piece. Come on.
Most of what I hear is from the radio, and it's just since I've lived in Pittsburgh, I hear a lot more about the Pirates. They trade away all their talent for futures. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Put people in the field that are going to bring fans in. No one's going to come to watch a futures guy that they pulled up from, the Montreal flipping sticks. As a pitcher that was doing well, beating up on high school kids. No one's going to come to the stadium to watch that guy, as a closer. Get people in, like McCutcheon. When they let go of him, that was basically like what I was used to my first few years in Pittsburgh when they got rid of everybody. Yeah. And then when they rebuilt and they came back and they were in the playoffs and stuff, were the Nuttings in charge the whole time?
Oh, yeah. Well, not the whole time. I mean, are we talking like the 20 years of losing, or are we talking just like...
No, I'm talking about the resurgence.
No, they were the group that got
the Nuttings were in charge when they resurged.
Yes. The Nuttings hired Clint Hurdle. The Nuttings brought in A.J. Burnett. All that. They were there for all of that, yes.
But don't you dare give them credit for any of that.
No.
They had nothing to do with that.
Oh, Matty, I got a whole rant here. I'll go if you want me to go. But we're letting Davey finish it first.
I know. I fired up Adam. I fired him up.
Let me see how much I got left in this pineapple here. I got.
And oh my God, if
I'm out. I don't know what more I can do.
I know Matty's a very big Pirates hunk, and so are you, Adam. And you should be there. You're from this area, but how much money do we keep giving these guys? No,
I agree with you. That's the thing. I'm for the Pirates. I'm so anti-nutting. It's ridiculous. I'll trust me. I got a whole rant here stored up. Trust me.
But how much money do we keep? I know Bills fans did it for almost 20 years. Huh? Where how much money we keep giving these people to take away what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going to a Star Wars movie and they make it all of Muppets. Phantom Menace.
Right.
Well,
I will, when I will tell you what, look, the Nutting showed they cared more about profit than baseball repeatedly throughout their tenure. Now, 2013 came around, and the perfect storm of we got all of our prospects in at the right time. We got a batting order here. We made a couple of trades. We're in the wild card. It was great. It was beautiful. And you thought, okay, well, let's see if they keep it going. Next year, they brought in a little bit of talent, not as much as they did in 13. They brought in some talent at the deadline. Again, in the wild card, didn't make it past it. Between 14 and 15, as you're going through this, the Nuttings said, and they're quoted as saying this, we will increase payroll when the fans show up. Okay. 2015, 98 wins, record attendance at the PNC Park. You know what they did in the fall of 2015? Cut payroll. That right there proved the liars that they were, and any small glimmer of faith I'd place in them during the wild card years was gone in the fall of 2015 when I saw what they had done to that. Ryan Vogelsong was their answer to the 98 wins of 2015. A 38-year-old Ryan Vogelsong. Maybe he'll be the next AJ Burnett. So that right there is all you need to know about the Nuttings and their promises. The funny thing you say, always trading the future, trading the present for the future. The one time they didn't do that was the Chris Archer trade. Because this is a team on the cusp of being good. They were right in the wild card race. They pulled the trigger. People were like, see, they finally made a trade. Mm-hmm. It has blown up in their face so badly, they can point to it in perpetuity and say, this is why we're never going to do that again because of Chris Archer. I mean, Tyler Glasnow, all-star now. Meadows, all-star. This Baz guy looks like he's going to be a stud too. So now, Glasnow was never going to be anything in Pittsburgh because Searage was, and the way he coached was not going to get Glasnow good, as we've seen. The pitch-to-contact crap breaks guys like Glasnow. But Meadows, we all could see what he had something when he was here, and then they traded him for an arm that is above average at best, and now he's hurt. If they even play in 2020, Chris Archer ain't going to be in the bullpen. And I think next year he'll be due $11.5 million, and the buyout's $250,000. Bye-bye Chris Archer in the fall of 2020. So, yeah. So that's I could go further, but I think that's good.
You feel better? You feel good?
I feel better. That was good. Thank you, Davey.
This is a safe place.
Yeah, no problem.
Whatever you got to get off your chest. I mean, obviously, life at home is perfect. So if you've got to complain about the baseball club, then you got to get it off your chest.
Hey,
you got to vent sometimes. So I'm sorry, Davey. Let's talk about Rob Johnson as the quarterback. No, let's not talk about that.
I was going to say we don't want to talk about that. Go Todd Collins.
So when they
Rob Johnson.
Me too. So when the
I don't want to talk about
going
that
down this road. So when these games resume, and some of them will resume. Have you watched a NASCAR race lately? Has anybody enjoyed a NASCAR race with no fans? Has anybody watched any UFC fights with no fans? Like, what do you think about sports with no fans? Because I gotta tell you, I've watched a good deal of professional wrestling with no fans, and it's terrible most of the time. It's crushingly
fan-driven.
Yeah, fans are essential to the entertainment. We're gonna watch an NBA Finals. We're gonna watch a Stanley Cup Final, and it's gonna be played in silence.
No. Like, I'm totally against the no fans. Some sports you can get away with it. NASCAR, I feel like you can get away with it because you don't hear them. You just hear the motors. Like golf.
The noise is built into it, yeah.
Even golf, I can get away with no fans.
It's supposed to be quiet.
It's supposed to be quiet. And for God love the golfers, they're probably going to enjoy having no fans. I mean, some of those fans get ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to be.
It's like a pen event.
Hate the guy, get in the hole.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, like, sports like football and I think hockey and wrestling, they need their fans somehow. They're talking about different things in the NFL, how they're going to pump in crowd noise. It's not going to be the same.
No.
You can't make that speaker loud enough.
Yeah. I mean, like,
to drop a jet engine in the end zone and just make that go off for a little while. That's a little noisier than pumping in crowd noise.
I think they'll play Renegade just in perpetuity for all 4 quarters at Heinz Field.
Go ahead. A lot of people underestimate the role that fans, play in these sporting events. Like I can't, like I know from watching it, I've watched enough hockey to know that fans can influence games, and I'm sure it happens in the NBA too. It's just.
Here's the thing about hockey: it has so much energy to it. So in terms of watching the player, if you're watching at home on TV, it's an active sport, so they're not going to be bored watching the guys skate around and do their thing. It's a different experience, of course it is. If you're a big hockey fan, you want to see them finish the season, especially if you're a fan of a team like the Penguins or the Boston Bruins or, any team that has a good shot at a cup this year. Of course you want to see them win the cup because you don't want to waste the season. Yeah. But, you certainly understand that you're missing something without a live crowd, but the league's got to get its money, and most of it's in TV, let's face it. So they can get the games on to keep the league afloat. In a way you go, well, but for the league to survive and have a decent next season, don't they kind of have to play out this cup and get the TV money and, be able to have a leg to stand on going into the next year? So it's a double-edged sword in that sense where you want to see them do well with the TV stuff so they can have a next year and not cut the salary cap in half. So
whatever they can do to get their games and their events on TV, they're going to keep doing it. Even though, I mean, like just imagine dark arena, the beginning, like NBA Finals, Game 1, the final countdown starts to play. The arena goes dark. The announcers, are they going to do the player introductions like that? Do Chicago Bulls? Are they going to do the whole thing?
They should have one of those, weird. They should have one of those guys with the party roller, horns come out and go.
I mean, does the team staff get in the first couple rows and make some noise just to create some sort of an effect? I mean, you can do that.
Glitter.
You hear two guys. I mean, all right, come on.
LeBron throwing the cloud of talcum powder up into the empty arena. That would be something.
Oh, that's what I want to see. Yes.
It'd be like showing up.
You have to give it to them. You got to give the people what they want. Are any of your kids playing sports? Perhaps they've been playing. We're going to play sports and we're canceled. Our son's baseball league looked like it was going to get canceled. It did not. It is back. It's been resuscitated, and they are going to start doing practices next week. Not all the kids are going to be able to play, so they kind of had to. I think they lost 15% of the kids just because summer vacation. People got their plans. Did not expect to be playing a little baseball season this time, but they are going to be practicing starting next week and playing games with slightly reorganized rosters for the kids to keep the balance going. And I'm like, my son's ecstatic. He's thrilled. And I'm kind of surprised that everyone just kind of, a lot of the other places just kind of gave up and move on. But here in beautiful West Jefferson Hills, we're going to get a little bit of kids baseball.
I almost want to know if I could get Chase into a league. This if
this is too late in the game.
If it's too late, or if he can come up there and just play. With the teams, if you need kids from out of your area.
We are. I mean, look, if the organizations around there are trying to get their leagues up and going, I would imagine that they are looking for players because not everyone that they expected to play is going to be able to play. And I would hope that they would take on, extra kids who maybe had a change of heart and want to play.
Yeah, they're definitely they're not doing soccer.
Yeah, but it's spring soccer, so that's our season would be ending this week, next week, anyhow.
Yeah,
that's my.
My kids did soccer shots a couple times. I've gotten emails that they are doing a summer session. It's still sign-up still available. So some of that stuff is still trying to do something during the summer. So,
but our camps got canceled.
Yeah, we had camps all lined up all summer long for Chase. He was going to ride in with us for 3 months. During the summer before school, there's Pitt. I think it was the YMCA in Pittsburgh, in Oakland. Mm-hmm. They have something new every single week. So it's a little bit more expensive than going to daycare for him. And
way more activities.
But tons of activities. There's no time. It's not like they're going to a daycare where a bunch of people are just watching so that they don't set themselves on fire. they're they're actually active with the kids. My friend told me about it. He said, on the way home, my kid passes out. He had so much fun, like from Oakland. So I wish that would kick off, but it's it's canned for the summer, and like Pitt's not even talking about having the kids back till after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's interesting because there are universities that are going ahead with bringing the students back on campus. So yeah. They're tough calls. I mean, because from what I've heard about this possible second wave, it's not going to be real apparent until we are into the fall. So that means universities will be in session, with their kids on campus if this happens. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, my daughter's back into writing lessons for about a month now. Of course, that's different. It's one-on-one with an instructor. It's easy to socially distance that. They do a summer camp there. She did go to it last year. Their sign-up sheets up in the barn. I mean, I think they're still trying to run it to some extent this summer, but no one's really said anything, so maybe not. Maybe the sign-up sheets are just sitting out there. I'm not sure. If she asks us, we'll discuss it. But I mean, I don't know if we're totally comfortable sending her or not. But I mean, I think they're trying to at least run a couple sessions of it this year, but no one's really said anything that I've heard, so I'm not really sure.
It's tricky time. Yeah, this the post school thing has been weird. And it's kind of like we're free, but we're not. It's right. Not quite. It's not.
Hi.
It's not where we expected to be.
Here's one children. Of mine making a cameo. I thought she was in bed. That's Amelia. That's Amelia.
Holy cow, she's got
ahead of Davey and Tina. Yep, she's going to be 10 in September. I can't believe it. A fourth grader.
Great.
Wowie.
Okay. All right.
Already smart enough to escape. Well, let's not. I mean, hey, it's almost 10 o'clock out here, anyways. So let's not keep our friends here any longer. So, but I must ask all of you to share some words of wisdom or inspiration before you part us. So, Adam, would you care to share anything with the room?
Words of wisdom. It's been actually a crazy time since I was last on the podcast. I know you. Yes, good night, sweetie. That right there is what makes it worth it, though. I've had a job change, which wasn't planned, but it's actually working out pretty well. And lots of people are in that boat, but in that sense, I mean, don't get discouraged if something does happen unexpectedly. Trust me, people are hiring right now. I mean, I've got my LinkedIn's blowing up, even now that I've taken a position. So it's out there. Don't get discouraged by that kind of stuff. And just, I don't know, don't get discouraged in general. I know this sucks at a lot of levels, but as I've said before on the cast, and I keep telling people that ask, enjoy the family time, because when this is all over and things are back to normal 5 years from now, hopefully, God willing, hopefully we'll be able to look back on it as well. You know what? I'm glad we got that time with our kids, or I'm glad we got that time with our spouse, or that time to do those projects around the house that we kept putting off. We finally got to do it. I'll tell you what, we've done some great things to our house over this. We got a grill, we got a basketball hoop, we got a beer fridge in the office. We've done some great stuff to the house. Oh yeah,
beer fridge.
A beverage fridge, but it holds the beer and the Truly and whatever else.
Okay.
You want to see it? I'll put it on. It's right behind me, actually. It's where I got the Truly from for tonight. So, but yeah, just stay positive. I know it's cliche, but just stay positive, because, it's all you can do. I mean, we don't have any control over this thing. All we can control is what's going on in our own households, and keep that a positive place. And I think in the end we'll be fine. So,
Davey, Tina,
I think you should try to use this time as try new outlets. Our son himself has actually now reached out to neighbors that he really didn't interact with much before, because we were always busy on the weekends. They were technically different school years. They're a year apart. He doesn't go to daycare. My son goes to daycare, so they just never ever interacted. And when they do, they didn't really know how to, just because they had nothing to talk about. It's actually forced him to play with other kids and get out there, and he's actually made a really good friend out of this. that they're at each other's house all the time. And it's nice to be able to see that. That's what we all grew up with for the most part, I think. Going to our friend's house, walking across the street, up and down the street, come back by dark time. And that's what we've always wanted for him. So now we actually finally get to experience that.
Now, if, Fortnite and Epic Games would stop disappointing my son and not coming out with, season 3, I'm starting to crack. I mean, I am really starting to crack under all this. I went up, visited my mom, and saw a couple friends up that way. And now I'm back down here. I had a friend down. Kalenda came over. It's just like it starts to feel more and more like let's go to Hofbrauhaus.
Yeah.
I'm starting to crack. Work-wise, things just aren't getting done. I let every little thing distract me, and I shouldn't. But the one thing that's a constant is I'm trying to keep with the workouts. And try to keep, if not mentally focused, physically focused. Because a sedentary job like I have, when you go home, it becomes super sedentary. When you get kids, though, involved, it's different, of course. But, if you let things kind of go bad, then you got to deal with, kids and your heart rate elevates. We're not like young pups anymore. Well, we still kind of are. But you know what I mean.
We look young, if that says anything.
We do. You know what? In all of our age groups, we were commenting. I was talking to Jono, and he said, we're not doing too bad. Because I've seen people that are like 32, and they look like they're 50.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. It's really weird. But like our group of friends seems to all have we all have our boyish and girlish good looks,
Yeah, I think so. Except when I let the scruff go a couple extra days, and you can see the white, and I do start to feel old before I shave. But other than that, I think I'm doing pretty good.
The white in the beard is alarming. Yeah,
it is. It is. You're like, didn't I used to be brown? Look at that. And every shave there's more white. You're like, oh god.
I've never been able to grow it that long without hating it and then saying it just doesn't look right. So we're trying it again. See what happens.
It looks good. It looks real nice, Davey. Better than mine did. So.
It's better than the little soul patch thing, or not soul patch, because that would be right here. Never tried that by itself. But down here, the chin strap, doesn't it
didn't work, huh?
It grows out and it just looks weird.
Well, I mean, this is the time for experimenting with facial hair.
Totally is.
Hey, Cuz actually tried to grow a beard. I mean, it was a failure, but he tried, and I respected him for it, and he looked like Zorro, so it was great.
He looked like Zorro?
Yeah, well, I'll make him send you a picture later.
Like which Zorro? Antonio Banderas?
Like whatever Zorro is funniest to you in your mind. That's what it was.
Zorro is a comical character, but okay.
He is now. I don't. Like I said, we always try to pass along some wisdom. Just accept that things are different, man. Just accept it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to change it. You just gotta. I think you accept it, and then you can move forward and try to do whatever you got to do to fight it. Some things you can change. Some things you can fight. Some things you have to fight. But unfortunately, this is not one of them. So you gotta do what you can do. Sorgy's getting antsy. We gotta get out of here. Adam, David, Tina, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your time with everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Check out all of us here at on the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram. Go to sorgatronmedia.com. Check out the fine family of podcasts there waiting to get into your ear holes. And we will see you next time. Stay safe.
Thank you, guys.